So you could have seen me on this bike in anywhere in town at all. But I'll tell you why I'm sitting on the bike first of all, and why this GhanaWeb Special will focus on this bike as well as other bikes here and the people who rode them. Welcome to this GhanaWeb Special. My name is Echiati, so I'll be your host. I'll tell you the story of why these group of young men, and I see a lady amongst them, did a journey from Accra all the way to Dakar in Senegal and came back. They did that on a bike. Welcome once again. I'm speaking with Dan. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Great. So Dan, yes, you can turn off the engine for now. Okay. So Dan is actually, let me also just disembark from here now. And this is one of the helmets as well that made it all the way to Dakar and back. So Dan is part of this group. Dan, what's the name of this group?
AIS. AIS used to stand for Around in 7. We used to do around Ghana in 7 days. But clearly, going to Senegal isn't 7 days. And so the name has moved from Around in 7 to now AIS.
AIS. Okay, just so that it's shorter. But basically, AIS means Around in 7.
So when we're doing Around Ghana in 7 days, then AIS stood for Around in 7, but now it's just a name.
Tell me the story. How did this all start? You mentioned Ghana. Did this just start from inland Ghana?
Yeah. So as the lead convener, I'm a motorcycle riding instructor. I teach motorcycle riding, and then I started road safety advocacy, because when you teach people how to ride, they must ride in safe places. And so I picked up road safety advocacy, and I was doing it only in Accra. But then I also realized that no, Ghana is bigger than just Accra. People ride outside Accra, and so we still needed to extend our road safety advocacy to the other regions of the country. So then I moved from Accra, and then we started doing the tours, and then as part of the tours, we did road safety advocacy in all the other regions. Yep.
But that means you started how many years ago?
2021 was our first edition. So this ride to Senegal was the 5th edition. We called it the Quintuple Quest. Quintuple standing for 5. We wanted to do 5 West African countries. So we did Ivory Coast, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and then Senegal, making it 5 countries.
All the way back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just before we even talk about the whole journey from here to Senegal and back, and I believe that is the first time anyone has done such a trip.
No, this is not the first time. Okay. Others have done it. Others have done even longer trips. Yeah, but this is our first time riding to Senegal.
So for you as a group, but have there been groups like this that have also done the same trip from here to Senegal?
Yes.
Have you been to other countries?
Yes, there is a group called Awar. They first did it, I think, 5 years ago. They rode to Senegal, so they have taken the lead in doing that. We are not the first group.
So you got some inspiration from there?
Yes, largely, yes. And I settled on Senegal because I wanted to do 5 countries. It was significant. Okay. I wanted to do 5 countries for the 5th anniversary. Okay. So when I looked at the map and everything I did, it landed on Senegal. Yes.
So you did 5 countries. That means that from 2021, every year you did...
Okay. Every year from 2021, we've done around Ghana, doing either 15 or 16 of the regions. So we usually leave Greater Accra, go to either Eastern or Central region in that order. So we do all the regions and then come back to Accra in 7 days.
So you say the inspiration is from the fact that you teach people how to
do road safety advocacy. And then the bike you just sat on is called the Yamaha Tenere. That is Tenere. Yeah, that is my bike. It was unveiled in 2020, and then I'm a Yamaha freak. I love Yamaha. So I said if I laid my hands on one of these, I was going to do a tour of Ghana, because it's a bike made for such. Okay. And so when I laid my hands on it, I was going to do the tour of Ghana alone initially. And then friends heard it and they said they would join me. So the inaugural edition, 9 of us did it. Me and then 8.
It was initially just a thing you wanted to do on your own?
I wanted to do it alone by myself. And then friends heard it and said, I thought it was going to be more fun having others joining. So 9 of us did the first edition in 2021.
So this is a kind of bike you can use to go around the country?
They are called adventure bikes. They are the SUVs of motorcycles. You know, when you leave Accra, some of the roads are very, very terrible. You need such bikes to be able to, navigate those roads. Otherwise, you get stuck.
Is this the kind of bike that you can use to race some of the the police bikes? Is this these ones are
called adventure bikes. They are purposely for doing tours on good and bad roads. Yeah, they have big tanks. They are comfortable enough to let you be able to ride for long hours.
Okay.
Yes. So
How fast is this? This one?
it's not a fast motorcycle. When you talk about fast motorcycles, the adventure motorcycles are usually not the fast ones.
Okay.
The fast ones are called the sports bikes.
Okay.
That when you even sit on it, you have to even duck so that aerodynamically you are able to penetrate there. So these ones, when we talk about them, we don't talk about speed. We talk about how durable they are, how strong they are, going through all the different terrains.
Now, AIS, how many people make up the group? Because I want us to delve into how the journey from here to Senegal was and everything. How many of you make up this group now?
So AIS has become an event. It's not a group per se. So for instance, those who did 2025 will not necessarily do 2026 and will not necessarily do 2027 every year, and who wants to embark on the tour. So this year we had 8 people, 7 guys and then a lady. And so I don't call it a group. It's an event where people come together to achieve a particular aim. For instance, these people came together to do the ride to Senegal. After it will be dissolved, and then a new group will be formed again for the next one.
Now, let's talk about the journey. The Ghana one, we know. I mean, you are inside Ghana, so maybe the challenges and experiences.
Look, when we were living in Ghana, I thought it was going to be difficult, a little more difficult than Ghana.
Okay.
And I thought the Ghana one was going to help us one way or the other. But what we did was totally different from Ghana.
Okay.
You don't know anybody. You don't even have the currency of the country you are in. You have to change currency. Sometimes you are running short of the currency. It was totally different from, it was more difficult. Language barrier. And when we got to Guinea, there was fuel shortage in Guinea. You can imagine. And how were we going to move? Yeah.
Fuel shortage.
Fuel shortage was in Guinea, and we were very fortunate that one station owner had mercy on us and then gave us fuel.
That's a fueling station.
Yeah, there's a Shell fuel station somewhere in a place called Labe in Guinea. Other than that, I don't know how we're going to continue our journey. We didn't know there was fuel shortage in Guinea. We didn't expect there was going to be fuel shortage. And so for us, we're just traveling, get to a country, buy fuel, and then continue. I dread it. If the man had not given us the fuel, I don't know how we're going to complete this.
Okay. So with this, you mentioned the tank of the bike, for instance, for yours, this Tenere, the Yamaha. If you filled this and you were traveling within, let's use Ghana so that people get better.
If I fill the tank, I can go to Takrady.
Okay. And back?
Not back.
Okay.
I can
So by the
Takrady. Yeah, so that should give you an idea. If I fill my tank, I can ride straight to Takrady or a little bit beyond Takrady.
Okay.
And then it finishes.
All right.
Yeah.
Now back to the cross-border things. Yeah. How was the experience when you get to a border?
You don't want to know. You don't want
Tell
to
me,
know.
I want to know.
You don't want to know. We spent a minimum of 4 hours per border. And not that we didn't have the required documents. You have your laissez-passer, you have your international driving permit, you have your international license.
Did you have your Ghana card?
Everything. Passport, everything. I took everything because I didn't want to get stranded. Everybody took everything, but they still delayed us. I think they just delay you unduly. We spent $350 per border.
You went across at least 5 borders. No, so every border is 2 borders in one, because you go through
the country you are in and then the one that you are entering. Yes.
Okay.
They will delay you. The best border, or the one who didn't delay us the most, was the Senegalese border, and that was even like an hour, 30 minutes. And they are not delaying you because you don't have a particular document. They are just not minding you. You are just sitting there. Somebody takes your document, you go somewhere and comes back. Somebody takes another document, they go somewhere and come back. You have to do police, you have to do immigration, you have to do... And the things they were asking, we had them all. They just kept us waiting for no reason.
Is it a case that we really did not appreciate what you were trying to do, and the fact that even indirectly you were trying to give some spotlight to the whole West African?
Absolutely. I think they forget that they don't know that what we are doing is putting spotlight on our own countries. We are even come to spend money in your country. And so it was bizarre to us that we heard that borders were notorious. We didn't know it was that notorious until we got there. They were just inconsiderate and they didn't care. You can call anybody and they don't care. It's like, that is how we play here. Either play like that or leave.
So what, I mean, of course, we've heard stories. Were they expecting you to pay more?
Yeah. I think they do that to get you to get frustrated, and then you want to pay more money. I believe so.
Did you fall for any of that?
I said we paid money. We paid $350 per border.
You guys must be some rich people,
We're
right?
not rich, but we wanted to move. We wanted to go. You are wearing riding gear, riding jacket, and it's hot, and you want to move. You have a set target. You wanted to do 15 days. We ended up doing 17 days before coming back home. We had booked hotels ahead. Some of them didn't want to even refund our monies. Some of them would say, we'll give you 50% because we said we were coming there on a certain date.
And you made it late.
You made it late. So it was stressful. We didn't pay because we had money. We paid because we wanted our freedom. We wanted to go.
But what was the experience like beyond the hurdles on the way? What was the experience
First
like?
of all, it's fulfilling to set a target and then achieve it. We said we were going to Senegal, Dakar. We were able to achieve it amidst all the struggles. So it's fulfilling to do that. Wanted to do road safety advocacy. There's something called the look twice for motorcycles.
Look.
Twice for motorcycles.
Okay.
The motorcycle is easily on the blind side of a driver. So sometimes somebody is taking a turn, they don't see you, and then they push you up the road. And the motorcyclist is the biggest loser on public road space. And so we do this campaign called the Look Twice for Motorcycles, where we want to remind the other road users that there are motorcyclists on the road. And so we did that advocacy in all the countries that we visited. Yeah.
But I know that riding bikes are not always, like you've mentioned, safe.
They are dangerous.
Did you have any close shaves on the road?
And we had many, but we prepare for it. The kind of outfit that we wear usually cushions you when there's an impact. And so one of the things that we highly recommend is that if you are coming on this trip, you must be prepared for the eventualities. You must wear the most durable riding gear just in case, because you are far away from home. Sometimes where you are to the next hospital is so far, and so you must protect yourself adequately.
All right. I know you were not alone when you did this. Yeah. You went with other people. I want to bring in Echo. Kindly join me now. Echo is also one of the people who was with you.
I'll tell you a very interesting story.
Please tell
about Echo. Echo is a documentary specialist. He does documentary photography. Okay. So he went on a trip with us as one who was documenting our events. But when we got to Dakar, one of the riders couldn't continue.
Any special reason?
He said he had a knee issue. Okay. Sometimes sitting on the bike for long hours in one position can have an effect on you. So he couldn't continue. So we had to get Echo to sit on the bike. So Echo rode from Senegal to Abidjan. Wow. Very, very. The journey back was more difficult than the journey going. And Echo was part of those who made the journey back.
Why was that? I mean, the return. Why was it more difficult?
Good. Very good question. When we left Ghana, we went through Ivory Coast, went through Liberia, went through Sierra Leone, Guinea, and then Senegal. Coming back, we left Senegal. We were cutting out Liberia, Sierra Leone. So we're just going to use the other side of Guinea to go straight to Ivory Coast. Okay. And we met them most. Some of them were not even roads. They were footpaths that we had to traverse. We had to go through rivers. We had to ride through water bodies to get to our destination. So the journey going was tough.
Because we're using main roads.
We're using main roads. Some of them were not too good, but it was manageable. But coming back was 100% more difficult than going.
Echo, you were a spare on the road, spare rider. How was the experience for you? You were documenting, but eventually you had to be part of the thing that you were supposed to document. Tell me what your experience was.
For me, it was a big challenge for me, and I didn't want to disappoint in the sense that if someone
Great.
That's a nice one.
He did marvelous.
Thank you. Yeah. So I didn't want to disappoint. Yeah, because someone is entrusting you with their bike. You get, and you don't want to do any damage on it.
And these are expensive bikes, by the way. Extremely expensive.
And mind you, also, I was riding with a front flat tire.
Yeah. You had a front flat tire. What? How is that? What did you ride it the whole time?
Yeah, so I rode with a front flat tire for over 2,000 kilometers. From
which country was that?
From Senegal to Abidjan. So and then we had to change because we weren't getting the correct tire dimension for the rim. So I had to manage and then go through all the hurdles, the water, the rough road. So when we are going, it wobbles. So how you balance the bike, how you stand on it, all these were experiences that I had to. Some of them I had to just think in the moment to overcome them. So I'm not like an experienced rider. It's just I think some few years, 2 years and some few this thing that I've ridden. So being
You did good for yourself. I want to believe so.
yeah,
Because riding all the way from Senegal with a flat tire, especially when you are not getting an alternative for that.
yeah. So that was a big challenge for me, and then crossing the water. I had my laptop in my bag at the back of the bike, and then my camera equipment was on my back. So there's no way I have to fall in the bike in the water.
You are carrying weight on your back and you are holding weight because these bikes are heavy. And you were able to do that.
Yeah, because uh, so let's say a short moment that was very like a do or die for me was crossing the water. Because for me, there was no way for me to fall in the water because my equipment
Everything.
is on me. You get so I had to go through. So I said to myself, any means necessary, I have to cross the water, and I did. Even though it was tough, I still did it. And then I had the support of the whole crew. They keep protecting me from the back, watching their mirrors and seeing, especially the road captain, if he sees that I've stopped for a while. Because at some point you feel tired, you feel drowsy, you want to sleep. You get tired, your hands get numb. We ride from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. night to night. It's very cold. We do like 700 kilometers per day for continuously like 3 or 4 days. And it's back to back. So these I think these are good experiences for me, and for me as a camera person, it also made me think in the moment because sometimes you need to get a certain shot, but we're all going.
So that means that you were actually riding at a point and still doing your work as a documentary guy.
Yeah. So sometimes you go ahead, you let them stop,
And then they can
you shoot, and then they go, and then you continue. So how soon are you able to switch lenses? How soon are you able to pack up your things back without damaging the equipment? So this was like a real test for me. And
You speak of these things as challenges, but it sounds fun, and the fact that you were able to actually surmount all of that. I want to find out, is this something you will do again if you get the opportunity?
even if it's tomorrow, I see. So when we're coming, right? When we're coming, one of the riders wasn't good at seeing in the night, right? So I was in the support car, and then I was called on again. As a soldier, you have to always be ready. I was called in again to help convey the bike to the final destination because the rider wasn't good at seeing in the night, and I had to do it. I came on it and then delivered. So ever ready. I'm always ever ready.
I'll get back to you, Eko. But I mean, that's a good one. And Dan, I just want to come back to you because I want to understand, maybe for people who be watching us and they want to know how they could also be part of such an event like you've mentioned. What do you think? Not what do you think. I mean, what are the requirements? Like, if somebody wanted to join you, how do you know if this person is best fit for what you're about to do?
Very, very good question. But before that, for me, Eko was the star performer, and he deserves a lot of praises because Eko didn't go as a rider. When he was called on, he delivered. Not once, twice. In fact, the second time when I called him to come and take over the bike, I saw some hesitation because it was raining. It was raining heavily in the central region, and we had to get to Accra because we were tired. We wanted to get home. It was raining. Some said, you know what, let's sleep one more night. I said, no, we have to get to Accra. So Eko is my star performer. He deserves
Kudos to him.
all the praises. He's not a very good rider, and so for him to have done that, when he first took the bike, we were all watching out for him because we knew Eko's skill level. But it got to a point we all relaxed because he was riding on the flat tire and he was still going. So we said, no, the guy can do it. So Eko is super.
Delivered.
Now, who can go on the ride? I choose good judgment over anything. The very first edition, there's a man called Kindi. If the camera can spot it, that's him.
Okay.
He's my trainee also.
Okay.
The very first edition in 2021, he was just a little over 6 months into riding, but his judgment is superb. So I took a gamble with him and went with him. In the scheme of things, he was nowhere near going on such a journey. But I kept analyzing him, and I knew he wasn't going to take unnecessary risk. So I took that gamble and went with him. He's gone for all 5 editions to date, and he's fully intact in one piece. So who can go? Someone whose judgment is superb, someone who doesn't take unnecessary risk. You can be riding for many, many years and have the penchant for doing unnecessary stuff that can end the whole group up in a mess. And so someone who doesn't take unnecessary risk, especially when you are away from home, you must protect yourself so that you come back home in one piece. When something goes wrong, it messes the whole thing up. So you must be a good rider. You must have good judgment. And of course, we can't go with a rider who is not authorized by the laws of the country. So you must be a licensed rider, and you must have an adventure motorcycle.
So you need to go with your own bike.
Yes, your own bike. Okay. You must go with your own motorcycle.
I want us to go back to some of the countries that you visited, because you are all Ghanaians. I believe there's no one who was on the team who was not Ghanaian.
There was 10 around 1, 2, 3, 4. The white guy.
Oh yes, there's a foreigner.
Yes, Chris. Okay. He just left Ghana 2 days ago, back to America. He came to Ghana purposely for this tour, and left right after the tour.
I see.
He found us out, and he phoned me and said he knows we are doing this in Ghana. He wants to come and join us do the tour of Ghana. And I said, no, unfortunately, we are not doing the tour of Ghana. We are going to Senegal. I thought that he would say no. But that actually, what do I say? That actually motivated him to come. So he is not Ghanaian. Okay. He came all the way from America to join us on this tour. And right after the tour, he's gone back, yes. And then there's another guy who is also, he's based between Ghana and South Africa.
But he has some Ghanaian.
Yes, he's Ghanaian, but based between Ghana.
But what I want to find out is, every country has some Ghanaian representation. That we have embassies and the whole lot. Did you have any such moments where you had to maybe visit an embassy, where you had to? Did you do any of those?
Yeah. So leaving Ghana, I did my best to write to all the embassies and notify them of our trip. So if there's any assistance, they would give up. If I get a question right, is it to say that did we have any difficulty such that we needed?
I mean, did you get to, like you mentioned, you wrote to them so that they could be aware that you were coming into their countries? If there was a need to pass by?
No, we
needed anything.
No. Unfortunately, our time was limited. The roads beat us, and then the border delays, which I said was at least 4 hours, and so we didn't have spare time.
But did you get any responses from the embassies?
Yes, they all contacted me. So Mali and Burkina, initially we were going to go through Burkina and Mali. They called back and said they can't guarantee our safety, and so we should think about it. And so we thought about it and then changed the route to use Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast route. So the embassies got back to us, and they gave us the best of advices that they could give. Yeah.
Okay, so you are spending a lot of hours on motorbikes. You are going through
being wasted at the borders. Also very important.
Which we have emphasized a number of times. I know that was not pleasant.
And then, we had some breakdowns also, which also took some time.
The bikes?
Yes. Okay. In as much as we planned for the trip, we took spares. There were moments where some of the things that were destroyed on the motorcycle, we didn't have it, and so it took time. Imagine seeing a motorbike tie in a certain country and you are excited. We were excited when we found a tie for Eko's bike. It was like children. We were not finding it, but even though that tie didn't last, but it still gave us some excitement. And so some of the breakdowns also delayed us. And so our time was really, really limited. Remember, I said we were doing 15 days. We ended up doing 17 days. So we had already overshot our budget. That would mean that we're now going to spend extra money, and people carried just enough for the trip. Yes.
Now, what were you eating? What were you taking? I mean, the whole hours you're on the bike, or you fast the whole time?
Yeah. So usually we eat breakfast in the hotels before we leave, but in the afternoon you have to fend for yourself. We find anything, and then we had backpacks that had liquids in them. Sometimes you put electrolytes in them to energize you. So you'll be sipping on your liquids. If you get something that you think is healthy, you just pick one or two. And then we had a support vehicle that had snacks in them. But unfortunately, our support vehicles broke down. One broke down in Sierra Leone, one broke down in Guinea. And so at a point, we had to remove, it was just the bikes. And so all the snacks that we had were nowhere to be found. We had to manage. So we just managed. We will eat breakfast and then eat dinner. But as for lunch, you're on your own.
All right. One of my very final questions is, now the people that went, what do you ride bikes? Is that all you do as a day job?
Yeah, I'm a motorcyclist. I'm a motorcycle riding instructor. I'm a motor safety advocate. I'm into motorcycles. Okay. Yeah. I'm born to a motor. Where we are standing is my dad's workshop. Okay. This is where I was born. So growing up, I've grown around motorcycles. All my life has been around motorcycles. So I've been a motorcyclist through and through. But there are other professionals that.
What kind of professionals joined you?
Just we have engineers, we have lawyers, we have bankers, we have entrepreneurs, we have businessmen, all manner of people. I mean, people ride. There are very notable people who ride motorcycles. Yeah.
Very finally, there's a lady who was part of this. Tell me about her. Is she the first lady who was riding with you in the last 5 years?
Yes, she has done the trip actually 3 times. Okay. She's done the 3rd edition, the 4th edition, and then this 5th edition. She happens to be my wife, and so she's done marvelously well. I think she's the first lady to have ridden to Senegal.
Yeah. You dragged your wife along. How was that experience for you?
It was difficult knowing that we have left our kids at home. All of the 2 of us are taking this risk. But we hoped for the best, and the best happened.
It worked out. Okay. What's the next one? You used to do Ghana. Yeah. Now you've done West Africa, 5 countries. What's the next target?
I'll gauge the tempo of everybody and everything and see what we'll do next. But for now, we are tired and want to rest.
And what say thank you and congratulations for at least placing Ghana on the map of West Africa. And even because of that, someone came all the way from the US.
Yeah. That was the highlight of everything for me. When he phoned me, there's a very interesting story. There's a guy called Leonard who he had hired to work for him in America. And then he has a lot of bikes in his garage. And so they were having a chat about motorcycles. And then the guy mentioned to him that Leonard is a Ghanaian. He mentioned to him that, oh, there's this thing that guys do in Ghana called Around in 7. I would recommend you to go, and then if you want. And then the next minute, the guy calls me. The next minute, he's on a plane coming to Ghana. The next minute, he's coming to join us.
He fully funds everything himself.
Yeah, he even bought a motorcycle. This is his motorcycle. He has left it for safe keeps. Okay. He intends to come back every now and then to come and, ride with us. So he did 6 countries. So if you look on his bike, the camera can zoom on it. He has Ghana plus all the other countries on his bike. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. But like I was saying, well done. This is a very laudable thing, and we're glad that at least you took the initiative to go that far. We've seen other initiatives.
I'm glad I did also. Yes. I'm glad I did. I enjoy motorcycling, and I'm even happier that me and my friends are able to do this. In as much as it was the most difficult thing, when you look back at the memories, you are still excited about it, and you even want to do it again. Yeah.
Well, kudos. Maybe in the future I'll join you.
You should. Maybe if you start riding, you will stop working for GhanaWeb.
Possibly. You never know. But thank you. That has been.
You work for GhanaWeb
and so do this.
More, yeah.
Yes, and do more. I'll do some more publicity work for you. But I've been speaking with the team at AIS, and this will be known as Around in 7, but now it's just AIS because it's grown beyond all of that. So that's our special. Here, these are the bikes that made it all the way and back. I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you to Dan Eko and the entire team for what they've done for Mother Ghana and also for themselves. Until another time, my name is Eche Atisu with Eko and then Dan. Thank you, guys.
Thank you too.